Dude, I have a pet peeve I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
It drives me nuts in TV shows. Absolutely drives me nuts in TV shows. We watch a lot of TV shows, me and Melissa, and like this
Okay.
happens, especially like detective shows and crime shows and stuff. So shit happens all the time, and it drives me nuts. They'll have the CIA, like the CIA episode where the CIA shows up and like
Yeah,
gets
okay.
involved. The CIA have no jurisdiction on American soil. None. They cannot operate on American soil other than within the confines of their specific buildings. They cannot make arrests on American soil. They cannot detain people on American soil. They have no jurisdiction on American soil. And every time there'll be these shows where the CIA will show up and have been running an op in Chicago or some shit. I'm like, no, that's the FBI or the NSA. That's why I hate the NSA. But that's what that is. It's not the CIA. The CIA are only in charge of spying on people. They're spies. They spy on other countries. They do missions on other countries. They organize missions on other countries. They don't have any jurisdiction within the confines of the United States of America, and it drives me fucking nuts. It drives me fucking nuts, Neil. Nuts. Every time. My wife is so sick of me bitching. We were watching The Rookie, which is a train wreck of a show anyway. But, like, all of a sudden, the CIA's involved in the story, and I'm like, this is so fucking... It would be the NSA or the FBI. That's what it would be. If you're going to use spooks, use spooks. Get your spooks right. That's the spooks that we would be dealing with. The CIA don't do shit here. They just don't.
That's akin to like any sort of shows where there's like cyber stuff going on. Like there's always some dude just
The
like
hacker.
slamming on a keyboard somewhere, and it's like I'm almost in. Like it's a wall that you need to break through.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and then like saying shit that's like not even a thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm hacking into the mainframe. It's like
right.
mainframes haven't been used since like the 70s,
I know.
and it's just it's
Hackers
just
be like, I'm in. Yeah. Me and Melissa do that all the time because we watch this this girl on YouTube named Jamie French who like she used to do makeups in movies. Like she'd do her makeup while reviewing a movie, but now she just does the movie part, and she's really funny. And she'll do the same thing, like a bit where it'd be like hackers be like, I'm in. So like we always like look at each other whenever we see like, all right, I'm gonna try and hack in. I'm like, I bet you he says I'm in, and then he certainly at some point goes, I'm in. But
I've made it into the system.
it just drives me nuts. Like, it just drives me nuts when they use the CIA within the confines of the United States of America. They have absolutely no jurisdiction. And if this somehow makes a show and somebody comes up to you and says, I'm with the CIA, we have to arrest you, they can't. They literally can't. There has to be an FBI agent with them. Like, or a police officer. They cannot do anything within the confines of the United States of America. It says it on their like homepage. If you go to their website, it says it. It drives me nuts. It drives me nuts because you're doing a crime show, especially The Rookie, which is supposed to be a crime procedural, but the fucking storylines are in the fucking stars. But like this is your one job, is to understand the branches of law enforcement. Like, that's the one research you need to do, and suddenly the CIA are running ops in Los Angeles. Nope.
That's the one that they're kind of like is just like, oh, okay, like what the hell? Because like with like the hacking stuff like that, only people who know what the fuck they're talking about know exactly, you know, what that actually means. It's can be like breezed by, but like you said, if it's somebody who you can literally do a quick Google search and
Google, yeah.
the list of things includes what they are supposed to
Right.
do / cannot
Right.
do.
Right. The organization that gathers intelligence on us, the people who every conspiracy theorist out there worth a salt is actually afraid of, is the National Security Agency, because they are spies who are dedicated to spying on us. They're the guys who listen to your phone. They're the guys who have giant fucking server receptacles that just record phone calls all day. That's who does that. The NSA. The NSA. The only I think it drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. Melissa's just sick of hearing it. She's like, just let it go. I'm like, no, they wouldn't be here.
Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good, it's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Hello.
Right, just like that, right out of the gate.
My name's
Cough.
Thanks for calling it out. I can edit that out, man.
I guess after
I hadn't started talking yet.
Yeah, like could have easily just been
Jesus.
cut off.
God
That's fair.
damn.
It's fair. No, you're right. You're right.
Hello, my name is Zach Rye with Old Man Gaming. With me, you've thrown the whole fucking thing off, Neil. The whole goddamn thing is off now.
Isn't that like part of my job description?
No, you just decided to do it every time. Hello, my name is Zach Raya with Old Man Gaming. You, dear listener, have chosen for whatever reason to listen to another horrible gaming podcast, as signified by the mess you just listened to, because I can't cut it out now. I am not alone, usually. With me is...
It's a Neil A.K., a tiny wizard.
And yeah, we're gonna do a podcast about. We're gonna do a podcast about E3. It's
We're gonna do a
obnoxious.
podcast.
So yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, we're going to do a podcast. Yeah, no.
We are. We're gonna do a podcast.
Just gonna do a podcast.
That's what it's gonna be, for better or worse.
It will, yes.
Before we get into our fun stuff, we've got to thank the people who helped us make it possible. Behind our ugly mugs, you're seeing a custom graphic that was provided to us by Mr. Mark Bell. We thank him for that. And then, of course, the theme song for this show and all the shows here at Old Man Gaming is provided by the man who makes the music, my brother, Nick Van Siders. We thank him for that. We'll be right back with Fans for Action.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
That brings us, ladies and gentlemen, to our first segment, our most important segment. That is Fan-ter-action. That's where we, the co-hosts, talk to you guys, the fans, about all the stuff that you've written in the places. And we read them out, we riff on them, we talk about them. So we got Jason right off the bat. The only thing you're going to have to pay more for in Dead by Daylight is the license stuff. They've started giving all original characters shard prices for cosmetics. Anything new that comes out of the original characters will automatically get a shard price after a few weeks. I have some things to say about that, but not until we get to the end. The problem with Dead by Daylight is that the prices, both shard and sell, are fucking insane. Especially for a game that ain't free to play. Exactly. The licensed outfit typically runs 10 to 15,000 cells, so basically $10 to $15. Shard prices for most of the unique original outfits is typically 21,600, while an original character only costs 9,000 to unlock. Yeah, this is my problem. Like, yes, they kind of go under the moniker now that, like, you can get basically everything but licensed character stuff. Because it's a horror game, so they've actually got a lot of licensed characters in there, like Michael Myers and the chick from Grudge and stuff like that. Those characters you still kind of have to pay for, but all of the original characters that they put in, like the Trapper and the Wraith, and the Deathslinger, my dude, they all can be purchased by earning these in-game currencies. But these in-game currencies, like, that's not quite fair to say, because they put these huge price tags on the amount of in-game currencies you need to get them. Like, just insane amounts of in-game work to do. It's not like you can get these things on the regular, not even close. When I played For Honor, All of the it's the same thing. It wasn't free to play. It still isn't free to play. It's very cheap now, but it wasn't free to play. And all the characters, other than the original ones, you had to purchase, but you purchased them with steel. Everything's purchased with steel, but you can actually rack up steel pretty fast, like maybe a week or two of grinding, and I could get a new character out of it, which is kind of, I feel like, the way it should be. With this, like, you would have to play a lot to get these new characters, and the original outfits are insanely priced. They're priced more than double than the characters themselves, which is insane to me. I don't even understand who's, like, dropping the dough for that when they see that. But yeah, that's the problem with me, is that's the thing. You still have all these microtransactions. Like, they like to fly under the banner of you can earn everything in game, but really the amount of work you have to do to earn it is not equal to the amount that it should be, given that you paid for it, you know?
Yeah, that's one of the many things that EA got in trouble with Battlefield, or Battlefront 2 rather, was, yeah, sure, you can do all the grinding and get the stuff, but it'd take like a ludicrous amount of time. I don't have a problem with that if it's a free-to-play game, but like you said, if this is like a game that you're paying money for, I get if you want to have that stuff in there, fine, cool, whatever. It's got its place in the industry at this point, but you can't have it to where it's like basically like, yeah, you can unlock it if you really play the game, but come on, you know, just give us $5-10 and we'll just give you the thing, because you don't want to play that much. And it's like, that's the shitty part of it.
Well, and that's the thing, like, that's one of my big problems with this too, is Dead by Daylight doesn't really get shit for it, and like, I don't understand why. Like, I very clearly see the obvious, like, the heavy microtransactions in this game, and you know, EA gets shit for it, but for some reason Dead by Daylight, which has been around since 2016, hasn't changed any one of these patterns, doesn't. And look, I think Dead by Daylight's a quality game. Like, it's a good game experience. I play it, I stream it, like, it's a fun game to play. I think this is bullshit, though. Their pricing schemes and the way they go about it is crap. It is also... There's also a fine line with that, where you have, like we on this podcast, we've said repeatedly, if it's free to play, put the microtransactions in it. If it's not free to play, you should be able to earn everything, right? Mm-hmm. But they ride this gray area where they use the it's all free, you can earn everything.
You can
in
do
game.
it. It's possible.
Right.
It's possible.
Right.
Like, sure,
Yeah.
It's technically possible, but not
Right.
very probable.
Right.
Or practical, rather.
Right. There is a line. The line isn't drawn at those two statements. It's somewhere in between, and you can still be over it. You know what I mean? And it just drives me nuts. I want to thank Jason for the rant that I'm about to go on, because he typed it all out, and it gives me a reason to read it out. It's one of my favorite rants in movie history. You got that right. You see, according to Cocteau's plan, I'm the enemy, because I like to think. I like to read. I'm into freedom of speech and freedom of choice. I'm the kind of guy who likes to sit in a greasy spoon and wonder, gee, should I have a T-bone steak or a jumbo rack of barbecue ribs with a side order of gravy fries? I want high cholesterol. I want to eat bacon and butter and buckets of cheese, okay? I want to smoke a Cuban cigar the size of Cincinnati in the non-smoking section. I want to run through the streets naked with green jello all over my body reading Playboy magazine. Why? Because I suddenly might feel the need to. Okay, pal, I've seen the future. Do I know what it is? It's a 47-year-old virgin sitting around in his beige pajamas, drinking a banana broccoli shake, singing, I'm an Oscar Mayer wiener. You live up top. You live up top. You live in Cocteau's way. What he wants, when he wants, how he wants. Your other choice is to come down here and maybe starve to death. I wish I hadn't started coughing through that. Yeah, that is from Demolition Man. That's Dennis Leary's prolific rant as to why they hide in the sewer from the Cocteau Demolition Man future. And I'm so glad that Jason has given me a reason to read it out on a podcast, because we read all our comments here. It's a great movie, guys. Check it out. Demolition Man.
I only know the Taco Bell thing. That's it. I've never seen the movie.
God damn it, Neil. You make me
it
so mad. How have you not seen it? We've talked about this 14 times on the podcast.
Multiple times. I think
Just go watch the movie. It's an hour and a half of your life, you fucking idiot. Go watch the movie.
I think it was available somewhere for streaming at one point. I don't know if it still is, though.
Oh, you're so fired. I have it on DVD, so I wouldn't know. Because that movie's worth having on DVD.
HBO Max. It's on HBO Max.
It is 100% Wesley Snipes' best performance, in my opinion. It is possibly Sylvester Stallone's best performance. It is one of Sandra Bullock's best performance. Yeah, I said it. Take the hot tea. It's her first one. It's the one that really put her on the mark. Like, it was her first, big movie. Fucking worth it, man. Fucking worth it. I'm telling you. Jason then yelled out, "Turtle Power!" because I'm sure that my phone went off. It always does.
It did. Because I actually listened. I almost commented on the last episode some snarky shit of, I don't always not listen to the podcast.
I would have read it out. All right, and then William Owen jumped in. Hi! Exclamation point. John Wick 4 was amazing. By the way, here's my John Wick favorite, from best to worst. 1, 4, 2, 3. Keep in mind the third movie is like an 8.5 out of 10 for me. Very good insights on Metroid Prime 4. I totally believe that's what's going to happen. Starfield won't happen, though. I don't know who he's referring to, whether it's me or you, on the Metroid Prime 4, because we had different predictions there, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, Starfield, I don't... Is it a game? I don't know. I don't think Bethesda makes game anymore. I don't think Bethesda makes games
anymore.
Bethesda no make game. They make hype. That's all they. That's their main consumer.
Export.
Yeah, hype. And then he says, "Thanks for the show. Cheers." Hashtag. It's Neil's show now. It's Neil's show now. Is it? I didn't know that. So I don't have to edit this one?
It's most certainly not my show now. That's for damn sure.
He said it. You can edit it tonight, post it. I'll just go to sleep after this.
I dropped one time, and now I'm the chauffeur.
I'm kidding. It's all good. All right, that's it for Fan Traction. We is done, sir.
Alrighty.
So we are going to head over to our talking point. Our talking point, unfortunately, is going to be a little bit of rehash territory, but, I mean, everything in gaming news is rehash territory at this moment.
Yeah, I think at this point, anybody who knows what's going on in, games industry in general and are also, relatively long-time listeners of this, absolutely know what the topic is going to be.
Yeah, they do. I think that it's one of the things that bothers me about gaming is we've been in it this long. I've been doing this podcast for this long, and it's like a hamster wheel. We just end up in the same place we began. And here we are again, coming full circle to everything we've been saying for a while. But we'll get into it. We'll be right back, and we'll get into it.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our talking point today. It is a somber day. We can finally...
In the yard.
Yeah, the Sarah McLachlan. E3 is dead, ladies and gentlemen. It is canceled, kaput, done, finito. It was going to be a lot of my odds and ends because so all the major developers pulled out, and then Ubisoft made this insane comment a few weeks ago that was like, if E3 happens... If E3 happens, we'll definitely be there.
Fucking crystal ball, or they saw where it was going.
Well, and they lied. They canceled before E3 canceled. They were like, they said if E3 happens, we'll definitely be there. Then Ubisoft last week was like, well, we're not going, not going. Sorry guys. And then a bunch of other companies pulled out, so E3 is officially canceled. They released a press statement. I don't remember what their press statement was, but...
Yeah, so I can paraphrase it because it's a ton of bullshit.
Yeah.
But I think that and that along with the conversation that we're having here should be framed in such a way that they said, oh, it's just this year's E3. No, straight up and down, like it's never happening again, because their statement was something along the lines, oh well, they're still leaning on COVID.
Oh.
Still, like, due to COVID and time frames, everything got delayed, and the company said they wouldn't be able to put together playable demos of their stuff. Yeah, because they didn't want to fucking do it, because they haven't had to do it in 2-3 years.
And
Straight up
and you
down.
cost too much.
Yeah, they're saving stupid amounts of money. I mean, at this point, it's like doing the same thing that you've always done the same way over and over because you know it works. Then one day, magically, you find a shortcut how to do the thing that gets you the same exact thing in half the time for half the cost. Fuck yeah, you're going to start doing that. What's the point in doing it the old way other than just tradition and nostalgia?
Well, and it's not half the cost. They're making money. If those companies go on YouTube, they get the ad revenue.
That's true.
From anything in there. They're all in the partnership program. They're going to get all that money. Why would I release trailers at a place where I have to spend millions of dollars in both rental fees and personnel to then staff that place to show off these demos, when I can literally make money and have Chet in the tech division just post it on a fucking stream? I mean, why would you do anything else? Yeah, I do want to say, side note, first of all, going to disclaimer this sentence. I'm going to disclaimer this by saying COVID is still a very dangerous thing. It always has been a very dangerous thing. Whether or not you decide to do the vaccination or you believe in it, I mean, hey, that's freedom of choice for you guys. It's still a dangerous, nasty thing out there that affects people, okay? You gotta stop leaning on it, all right? We've been living with it now for fucking 2 years. It's something that happened. It exists. If you can't figure out, as a company, how to deal with the aftermath of COVID, then you shouldn't be a company anymore. I mean, it was rough. I'm not saying it wasn't rough. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying it's something that shouldn't be considered, but stop using it as an excuse. Am I right here or am I right? Like, stop. Like, I am so sick of because of COVID, we're delaying. Or because of COVID, we can't do this year. Or because of COVID. Like, we're out of that, okay? We're out of that. There's no reason for you to be stopping COVID anymore, you know? Stopping because of COVID. I mean, there's a reason to stop COVID. Nobody can, but... You know what I mean? Like, I'm just sick of that excuse. As far as the just this year, okay, fine. What are you going to come back with next year? Because none of the developers want to be there anymore. Like, we're not even talking about Nintendo, Xbox, or PlayStation. We are literally talking about the development teams, like the third-party developers. They don't even want to pay your exorbitant fees to be there. And they shouldn't. There's no benefit to it. Look, I loved E3 when it was around. I liked participating in E3, and I think E3 did serve a purpose. But the people who have to blame for E3's death is E3. There is no point to spend the amount of money E3 wants you to spend to then advertise your game when you can do it on the internet and make money, you know?
And have a separate company. Just put all your fucking personal shit out there on the internet for anyone to find. I actually I looked up. They've made like multiple different statements about all this. There's 2 different ones here. But the one here that I'm gonna read, it's what's it called? What's his name? Stanley Pierre Lewis, the president of the ESA, the statement that was made as to why E3 was completely canceled. First, several companies have reported that the timeline for game development has been altered since the start of the COVID pandemic. Second, economic headwinds have caused several companies to reassess how they invest in large marketing events. And third, companies are starting to experiment with how to find the right balance between in-person events and digital marketing opportunities.
As in, they don't want to do the former, and they want to do the latter.
Yeah.
Basically.
I don't think they've been beginning to experiment. Beginning to experiment was Sony in, what was it, 2018? When they did their own thing? Mm-hmm. That was beginning to experiment.
I think it was a little bit. I think it was 2019. I think it was the year before COVID.
It could have been 19.
I think it was the year before COVID.
It was that
and then they were like, ha, we're already doing it. Yeah.
4 different, like they rented out 4 spaces and had everybody move between the different areas.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was way too much. But that's the thing is the toes have been dipped in for a while. Make no mistake, at this point, everybody's kind of figured out. It's like, hey, we can just throw this shit on YouTube, or hire Jeff fucking Keighley in his summer fuckfest to just do a trailer dump, and that's what's happened. They're already talking about the Summer Games Fest, IGN Summer of Gaming. Keighley's got his hands in everything. So now Keighley is like the guy for some reason for like all goddamn things. Still never understood how he got to this point, but that's an entirely separate thing. But I mean, at this point, E3 as we know it it's just gone. Like it's not going to come back. At least not in person. If anything, the only thing that I can think of that might happen if E3 is a thing again, the ESA is just gonna rope-a-dope everybody together, say, hey, let's go ahead and just show all the trailers at one time. Let's just go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
All under the one banner of this show, and everybody would get on the same page and be like, yeah,
Keighley would host it.
And Keighley would host it, which is kind of what they're doing anyway, to be honest.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the thing. IGN is slowly consuming video gaming. And that's another thing.
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk about that in this talking point, because really, there's only so much of "we told you so" we can say on here. But IGN is now doing Summer of Gaming. Like, they do it through there. They also have their own awards, which you could potentially say is kind of bigger than the gaming awards themselves, and the gaming awards is actually streamed through them. I think IGN is actually positioned themselves to be the new fucking ESA without the rating system, obviously, but like, I'm kind of getting nervous about how much control IGN has on all of these, and I don't love either the way they kind of project this very like, we're your friend sort of thing. Like, if you listen to their podcasts, right? Like, they've got 3 or 4 podcasts, and all of them are very, like, just friendly, conversational. Like, you'd think from listening to it, Damon Hatfield and Slam Claiborne are the only guys who work at IGN. It's just a mom and pop shop, that does reviews here and there. They are a multinational company. Worldwide. They have fucking offices in Japan, and they basically control the outcome of gaming now. Like, I hate to put on the tinfoil hat this early in the conversation, but I'm starting to believe they have all the control over all of it. The gaming awards, all of the big things kind of correlate with whatever IGN says. You know what I mean? Like, they're the powerhouses. If a game succeeds, it's IGN saying it should succeed. If a game doesn't succeed, or IGN not saying anything about it at all, and it just kind of like gets big, and then IGN says, hey, it's good, you should like it. And if
Pizza
a game
Tower.
Doesn't do good, yeah, exactly.
Perfect example.
Exactly. Nobody talked about Pizza Tower. Pizza Tower wasn't a fucking thing, except for the people who played it. Then it got big just because it was a thing that the people got played it. And then IGN was like, Pizza Tower's awesome. We've always said Pizza Tower's awesome. Like, no, you didn't. You didn't know about them. You didn't follow them. You only do AAA games. The indie games that you do are only because it gets a groundswell. And you decide whether things are good or bad. You shut shit down. IGN says something's rough, that game dies. If IGN says something good, it's good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm really starting to hate the almost imperialistic kind of feeling of IGN at this point.
Yeah, like even their stuff, like we talked about that whole rating system that they have, the 10 point that's actually a 1 through 5 rating system.
Yep.
Like I don't even I used to like listen to their podcasts and everything every single week. The only thing that I kind of pay attention to on a weekly basis from them is going to be that next gen console watch that they do, just because it's just kind of like, it's not talking about like actual like content. It's more just like a chat sort of situation.
Right.
Like you said, it's very curated. It's very sanitized
And
because
it's like, it feels like propaganda. It feels like gaming propaganda. I hate to say that, but like you look back at the World War II movies that are like, join the military, it's awesome. Like those kind of things. That's how their shit feels. It feels like, hey, look at this. You like this? This is awesome. You know, like it's almost like they're cramming things down your throat. And what was the last trailer that you watched that didn't come from fucking IGN? What was the last time you didn't see that like premiere fucking trailer on the bottom? I can't remember. Even if I'm watching on YouTube, somehow it's like, oh, this was IGN that posted this.
Yeah, and it's not even just gaming stuff anymore. It's like it's straight up like the Marvel stuff. The Marvel stuff, all like,
Oh, yeah.
they all the trailers and everything go up there. I mean, all of this kind of touches on something to plug something that you did like 2 years ago at this point, and one of the terrible talks that you did is like the gaming journalism, especially like the heavy hitters like IGN and everything. They do not want to step on any toes, and they have not done that for a while, and as a result they've effectively been rewarded by being handed effectively the keys to the goddamn kingdom by taking over what was once an independently ran gaming expo that happened every single year, that was like the Super Bowl of games.
Yep.
They now are like the dudes effectively.
They have been, and we're starting to see a turn too. We're going to start seeing a turn where it's no longer them trying not to step on anybody's toes, and it's them saying, hey, if you mess with us, we'll bury your game. You know, I think that like you look at some of the releases of games that people would consider bad, right? So let's take some like really terrible releases. All right, Cyberpunk. Let's look at that one. You know what they gave Cyberpunk?
Initially, what was it, like a 9?
A 9 out of 10. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go one further, because there's a lot of people out there, I'm sure right now, that'll be like, oh, it's good now. I got it. 2 types of assholes. You guys can go back to the podcast and remember that. Let's look at some other ones, though. Mass Effect Andromeda. That is still considered a terrible game by most. I actually enjoyed it, but that was for my own reasons. That's considered a terrible game, right? Like, you would consider that a terrible game, right?
Yeah, I would. Yeah. I would call it like a 6.5, 7.
Man, you're IGN. I'm sitting here talking to IGN. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it got a 7 out of 10, even with the opening initial bugs that it had. 7 out of 10. Anthem got a 7 out of 10. Okay.
Oh man. Oh,
these are
memory.
These are horrible, embarrassing failures that they still gave 7s out of 10s to, 7s, 8s, or 9s to, and they did that because the studios were EA, CD Projekt Red. You know, they only walked back the Cyberpunk thing and did a console review after 2 months of it being out because it was such a train wreck. I think that like. Yeah, their review process is incredibly askew. The other thing is, too, they stopped reviewing all games, or like most of games, which I kind of get. There's thousands of games come out a day, but you need to review more than, one every 2 days. The minute you review only one out of 2 every 2 days, you're only reviewing the ones that you're going to give reviews to, like good reviews to. And you're only giving the good reviews because those are the studios that want you to review them, I think that, we're in a really terrible place in gaming. I've talked about it a lot, about how Microsoft is trying to own all games. But if you look at the media side of it, the journaling side of it, the journalist side of it, it's the same thing. IGN is slowly taking over all of that shit. And, like, nobody uses Kotaku and Game Informer to launch their game trailers anymore. You know, it's always fucking IGN. Always. That makes me incredibly nervous, guys. The things that are happening in gaming is imperialistic in a way. Like, it's terrible. Like, you have certain couple of places that are owning everything. And no matter how friendly those people, those faces that they put on IGN are, you have to remember that is $1 million company that is global, you know? Like, they've got they're in 3 different countries. Like, come on.
Yeah, and I also think, too, I used to listen all the time to... Kotaku had a podcast. Game Informer still has a podcast. I guess Kotaku does have a podcast, but
I'm sure they do. Everybody has a podcast.
Well, I mean, it's us. We're dudes in the basement. We have a podcast.
There you go.
Anyways, but they had people who ran these podcasts, and they worked for these companies, Game Informer and Kotaku. At this point, those people who pioneered those podcasts, who were a part of everything, have actually left those companies and have since spun off doing the same thing that they were doing before on their own with what is it, triple click for the Kotaku side and MinMax for the Game Informer side. I cannot remember the names of the people.
Well, you got a lot of private people who've walked away from IGN and started their own stuff, like Alana Pierce, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, she did too. That's right. Yeah, same situation.
She does her own things now.
And they all kind of have the same story of, yeah, it was great, but shit kind of started getting weird and more like advertising than reviewing, and those guys are all a lot more honest on their stuff, especially Alana Pierce. I remember Alana Pierce for a while when she was like doing a lot of reviews sort of stuff, or at least
she's brutal. She's brutal.
Impression stuff. Yeah, she gives zero fucks.
I don't actually like. She's a fine person. I have no problems with Alana Pierce as a person. I don't like her in the review space. Like, she's very mean to her reviews, but that's her right, and she should be, like, honest about how she feels about a review, and I don't feel like IGN does that. I don't feel like IGN's done that in a long time. I know we kind of spun off onto IGN, though, but, like, this kind of stuff, like, you go back to the E3 stuff, yeah, I mean, I think IGN is kind of part of the reason E3 isn't around anymore. I think they've just slowly consumed them.
It's that and Jeff Keighley. Because Keighley kind of presented, presented this idea of, hey, you know, just we got together with some people and we some trailer dumps, and yeah, you don't have to pay anything. You just gotta have a dude in the graphic design department, and that's it. And like you said, yeah, I didn't even think about the fact they're actually making money.
They're making money.
On
making
YouTube
money.
Revenue.
Yeah. YouTube is 100%.
Can easily share the videos and not just like, hey, did you watch this entire hour-and-a-half press briefing?
Right.
No? Oh, well, here's the 1 minute
highlights,
reveal trailer of XYZ on, the Facebook page. The format has changed in such a way to where, like, this is the new E3.
Yeah.
The summertime is going to be like the E3 time, as I have called it before in the past. But I mean, you can't even associate it with E3 anymore because, sure, they canceled this year. I know they chose those words very carefully with that statement, but let's be real. What are the actual chances that E3 24 is going to happen? Zero.
None. Zero.
Absolutely
zero. And if it were to happen in a digital space, I want to say this, and then we could probably move on unless you've got more to say. But one of the big things I want to hammer home, and the reason you should be upset that E3 is gone, because look, E3 killed E3 in a lot of ways. I mean, we've talked about IGN's influence on its death, Jeff Keighley's influence on its death. You know, we've talked about that. I mean, personally, I don't think COVID helped it in the first year. I was just saying that you can't use COVID anymore as an excuse. But in the first year, it definitely hurt it. I think that there's a lot of reasons it went down, but there was a purpose that it did serve to gamers, and that was these games that they show you in these digital events. When a game company, and we've talked about this a lot, but when a game company like you see the Xbox I/O stuff and Sony's whatever the fuck it's called in the Nintendo Directs, they're showing you exactly what they want to show you. There is nobody in there playing the games, looking at it, making an informed decision on whether you're going to like it or not, giving you any concerns they might have. The thing that E3 did, and I know that a lot of this had IGN in their hands in there too, but you still had people in there who could actually play the game, see the game, then they would go on their own shows and be like, I don't think this game is going to be good because of this. These were the bugs I saw in this game that you didn't see because they didn't show that in the press briefing. Like, there was a concerted, like, a possibility of getting an idea for some of these games. Some of these games now, in these trailers, they don't even show you what the game is. It's just a trailer of, like, oh, there's a griffin, and there's a laser beam, and there's a guy, and then there's an explosion, and then there's a title wipe, and then it's over. And it's just...
2025.
Yeah, exactly. The game is just made to get your fucking brain to release a certain chemical that goes, I want it. But there's nobody there to say, oh, that might not be a game, or that might not be great, or that might not be what you think it is. E3 served that purpose. They actually served that purpose. It put games in the hands of them. It allowed interviews to take place. It allowed things to happen that would allow you to get a better idea of whether these games are worth spending the astronomical amount of money that these game companies ask of you nowadays. And that's gone. And that is unfortunate. That is the biggest death to E3, is that when you watch these digital events, you're just watching trailers that the guy who wants to sell it to you is showing you. It's basically the equivalent of trying to buy a car from a guy and going, hey, does the car run good? And him saying, yeah, it does. Of course, he's going to say, yeah, it does. He wants to sell you the car. Like, that's all you're getting.
Look at this commercial of the car driving.
Yeah, look, see, it drives.
See?
It drives in this picture that we drove. It's like a dude with, like, one of those, like, hand crank backgrounds, and it's just sitting in the driveway. But yeah, so that's something I want to hammer home. This is why you should be sad that E3 is going, because there is no other show. And Summer in Gaming is bullshit. It is just another... they just get all the companies together, but they're still just showing you fucking trailers. That's all they're showing you. There's no hands-on time with these games, and the hands-on time is all going through IGN personnel. Kotaku's not invited to Summer of Gaming. You know, Gaming Bolt is not invited to Summer of Gaming. Game Informer is not invited to Summer of Gaming. It's all through the hands of IGN, who want the money to sell you the thing. Like... So there's no events that are going to be like this from here on out, and that's a bummer, because there are so few checks and balances in our industry right now that, like, to lose another one's a bummer. As weak as a check and balance as it still was one, and we've just lost another. Mm-hmm. So, you got anything else to add, or should we move on to odds and ends?
No, that's it.
All right.
Pour one out for E3.
Pour one out. Pour one out for my homies. E3 was never my homie, though.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, that brings us to our final segment, Odds and Ends. This is where we collect smaller news stories. We don't necessarily deserve a talking point. We just riff about them. We tell you guys about them. We make jokes, the thing that we do. We didn't decide who's going first. You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first, because we both have 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. You go first.
All right, number 1 on the hit list. We got some multiverses bullshit.
Yep, there it is. There's the overlap.
I know, okay, there's the overlap. Okay, so we've talked about this a little bit, which is, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, that multiverses just hasn't had any updates whatsoever, and its player base has dropped down to almost non-existent, even though it was an incredibly popular release, free-to-play kind of Smash Brothers alternative that a lot of people liked. It was well regarded. They have decided, and this is some real bullshit, they have decided that they're shutting it down because it was a beta. There was no mention of it being a beta originally. The last couple of updates, they've kind of said, oh, here's a new beta update. But they never mentioned it as a beta in the first place. It was just a free-to-play game. But now they're like, we're shutting it down because it was always a beta, and then we're going to work on it for 6 months and re-release it in its original form. Which, if you're already going, that's some bullshit. I agree with you. But please hold your bullshits till we're completely done informing you about the bullshit. Because they have refused to give anybody refunds on the amounts they have spent. It is a free-to-play game, but it has microtransactions. They have refused to give anybody refunds on the amount they've spent on in-game because it was a beta, and it's definitely coming back, and they'll have all the access to that content offline until the servers go back online. So yeah, basically what Warner Brothers has done here, and whatever game company made this, they've just taken a big old shit in your mouth if you spend any money on their game whatsoever. And I think, just before you give your opinion on this, I think this is something that really hurts games as a service as a whole. I like games as a service when they're done right. I think it's a cool idea. I think it could be really fun. But this is going to make anybody who played this, and a lot of people who didn't play this and just saw what happened, reconsider getting involved in a free-to-play and spending money on it. And I hate to tell you, developers, if they don't spend money on your microtransactions, when you release a free-to-play game, you don't get money. So, like, this is everybody should be mad at them. Everybody should be mad at them. The other developers should be mad at them, because this is going to make anybody think twice about getting a games as a service.
See, I don't know how I really feel about this, because I think I'm
already upset with your attitude towards this.
No, I think
already.
No, because I think I'm numb to it.
This is pretty egregious, even for games as service stuff. Like,
well, yeah, for sure. But at the same time, like, well, first and foremost, beta should never have microtransactions, no matter what. The fact that they were in the Halo Infinite beta when I was in that was just absolutely ridiculous, especially given the fact it was like a closed beta, it wasn't an open beta, anything like that. Like, that was just over the top. But
it was never a beta. That's the point. But go ahead.
Right. Well, that's true. It was
like
never
they
marked
never
as a beta.
considered a beta.
They
never considered a beta. They're trying to get away with this. Like, they're trying to get away with taking it down. That's what they're trying to do.
I feel like that's the most egregious part of this, is the fact that it was like, because I would say this at the same time, if it was not considered a beta, if it was the actual full release, and instead of them saying, oh, well, we're coming back, after we redo it, we're going to relaunch, whatever. If it was just an actual game shutting down, at the same time, then, like, you've spent your money, that's it. You can't get a refund anyways, for that sort of stuff. I just think the fact that they slid it as, oh, this is actually a beta, is the part that's kind of shitty.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous. I think that, like, you can't. Yeah, I think that they haven't done anything with it. They don't know what to do with it, so they took it down. And they were like, well, how do we not give them money back? Oh, we'll just say it was always a beta,
Yeah, but I mean, I think that kind of the fact that people are upset about the fact that a service, beta or no, is being shut down, they want refunds and can't get them, I think kind of means that we should have a discussion as a whole as to how we really tackle this sort of stuff. Because, I mean, just like when you buy digital games, you don't own them. You own a little certificate, effectively, that says you're allowed to play it. Same goes with like even how you experienced directly with Cyberpunk.
Yep.
Trying to get a refund for that.
Still waiting, fuckers.
Yeah, and you'll be waiting forever. That's the thing. Like, when things don't inherently work or work as they're advertised, if it's a physical good, sure, you just take it back to the store that you got it from. Hell, if you get a movie, even to put it even closer, apples to apples, if you get a movie, you put that movie in, or download that movie and it doesn't play in the right, like the file format's fucked up or the disc is messed up. Even that you can take back to a store and return. But because you choose to buy a digital version of the same thing you can get physically, you can't.
Right.
Which I think is ridiculous.
I agree with that. I agree with that mentality. I
I
think that we should all have a new conversation about refunds and takebacks, especially in gaming. There's no industry that screws you over harder on refunds. I've talked numerous times about Steam's 2-hour limit on a game. 2 hours sometimes doesn't even cover the opening cinema. Like, it's impossible to know if a game's good in the first 2 hours, half the time. I think that you're right. I think we should have a discussion about it. I think it's still real shady what they're trying to pull here, even from a standpoint of like a digital game shutting down and not giving refunds. I think that this is like, we're not talking about a game that's run for 2 or 3 years and it's just not working out and we got to shut it down. This game started last year. Halfway through the year, this game was released. So it's I don't even think it's been around a full year. So
No.
So you are taking this is a cash grab. That's what it's going to feel like to all these people. Is it's like, here's a thing, we're definitely going to do stuff with it. Give us your money, and then they gave them the money, and then they're like, never mind, and then shut it down. It feels kind of like a scheme. It feels more schemy than even a AAA game releasing and sucking. You know what I mean? Like, this feels vindictive, and I think you're right. But it's your turn. Your turn for a nod.
All right. Well, then I have the two more. The one we're gonna save for the end.
Oh, wait. If we're saving one for the end, I should do another one then, because I stole one
Go
of
ahead
yours.
then. Go ahead.
Because that way it'll work out perfectly. All right.
Yeah.
Alice Fallen's delayed till August. We said it. We knew it. I told you. It had only had an announced trailer. They came out and were like, it's coming out in May. And I was like, what? It was one of my odds and ends like 2 weeks ago. It was like
Was that sand?
The sand monster
sand
RPG
thing, yeah.
skating thing. Yeah. It had like a release date of May. They just set the release date like 2 weeks ago, and then they're like, sorry, August. So they've already delayed it.
Oh God. See, that's that's. I feel like it's an overcorrection from what we've always talked about, because we've always talked about how games be announced as like in development, or like there's just a concept trailer, but it's apparently coming out here soon.
Right.
No, it's not going to happen. Now it's the complete opposite. We don't hear anything about it until they quote unquote think it's ready to go. And then they show you what they're going to show you, give you the release date quick, fast, and in a hurry right after that. And then now we're delaying the shit. Like, there is a middle of the road that we're able to get to. There's a nice median, because this ain't it. It's constantly slamming on the gas and slamming on the brakes.
Yeah, I want to give you the timeline of this game. It was announced at the Game Awards in December.
Okay.
So that is 4 months ago. That's when people knew about this game. Oh, cool, that looks good. Announced trailer. Not sure what it is. Guy fighting a monster in sand. Cool. He skates on sand. Cool. 2 weeks ago, coming out May 22nd. Oh, okay, cool. That's really cool. This week, delayed till August. So in the course of 4 months, we found out about the game. Found out its release date was 2 months away, then found out, no, that's not true. It's not releasing till August. That's insane, guys. That's insane. All right, your turn.
Alrighty, so my one of my two here. This one is absolutely wild. I don't. Dolphin Emulator. I don't know if you know what that is.
I do.
The Dolphin Emulator for the Wii and the GameCube is apparently coming to Steam. I don't know if Nintendo knows anything about this.
How the fuck are they doing that?
Have
Somebody's
no
gonna
idea.
get sued. Somebody's gonna get
yeah,
sued.
Nintendo has to know. Nintendo absolutely 100% has to know.
That's huge,
I
man.
can't imagine that they don't know.
Nintendo games on Steam through the Dolphin emulator? That's huge.
And when I saw this too, because given the fact, like, we're recording this now, this is April 2nd. Yesterday was April Fool's Day.
I'm
It was,
looking
like,
this up.
Wednesday.
I don't believe you. It's got to be April Fool's Day.
Yeah, I saw this on, what was it, like Wednesday or Thursday? I think that's a little early for April Fool's shit.
I don't know. There was some tons of April Fool's stuff on the IGN.
Yeah, I saw the Mario Voices thing.
I really like the Sonic Murder one, which is actually a real game.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to look at that. I saw that just came out. I was like, what the fuck?
I do want to play. I guess bonus odds and ends. There's a game you can get on Steam. Why are you gone again? Oh, why? And there you are. It's every time I bring up the internet. No, you're still there. I don't know what the fuck's going on. No, now you're gone. Why? Oh my God, what's going on with my computer right now?
Yeah, Dolphin Emulator. It's listed as coming soon
real.
on Steam.
It says real everywhere. Yeah, that's crazy.
I cannot imagine. There's no way. Like, Nintendo just must not know.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah, that's insane. I don't know why everybody out there, I don't know why Neil keeps vanishing, but every time, for whatever reason, I switch to the internet, he disappears. And there you're gone again. Why? Is Discord, like, automatically minimizing now? Oh my God, frustration. Okay, anyway.
Specs aren't too bad either.
Yeah. I can't believe it. I think that, like, that's insane to me. Somebody's got to get a cease and desist. Nintendo hates
10,000%. Yeah, Nintendo's never gonna let that fly.
They hate stuff like that. They go after stuff like that with extreme prejudice. Like, you talk about people on the PlayStation game that, like, were creating Mario type worlds in Dreams. They got cease and desist letters. Like, Nintendo doesn't play that, so I don't know how that's gonna. I don't know how that's gonna get through. All right, so my final one. If you are a crazy person who thinks that you're still interested in Starfield, Xbox has finally announced their new Xbox Direct. It's not Direct, it's something else, but
yeah,
it's the basic thing. They're doing a double header, which they're going to do a Starfield Direct first, then an Xbox like showcase show on the same day. That's June 11th. It'll be Starfield. The E3 time, yep. So this will be all of Xbox's big announcements.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to see there. We're going to see the Starfield, any announcements they have for Starfield. We'll probably see some more in-depth trailers, more in-depth gameplay from it, I would assume, since it will be coming out like 2 months after it.
They have to
supposedly
show just another pre-rendered something or other.
They're going to show you the new release date. That's what they're going to show you, which is 2024. Yeah, so we're going to see that from that, and then we'll probably see anything else Xbox has been cooking up. So here's the thing, depending on who's right or wrong about Avowed, that's when we'll see information about Avowed. If we don't see any information about Avowed, it has been quietly shit-canned, just saying.
Yeah.
But anything else, like, that's going to be their big show, so anything else they have working is going to be there. I don't know what we're going to see. I think it'll be very interesting to see what we see there, especially since I don't think this whole Activision thing's going to be cleared up by then.
No.
I mean, that's what, a month away? 2 months away?
2 months away at this point.
2 months away. Well, we're in April, May, June. Yeah, 2 months away.
Yeah.
So,
2 months away. Yeah, we'll get, I'm sure we'll get some sort of something. They'll throw something out at us regardless of when it's going to actually come out.
We're going to get a ton more controversy without a doubt, but we're not going to see any more stuff in that way. Like, we're just not.
Well, speaking of controversy and stuff, I'm going to move on to my last odd. There wasn't enough of it to make it an entire talking point, but we had a surprise Tears of the Kingdom. They didn't call it a direct. It was just a showcase. It was 10 minutes. Well, it was more like 8 minutes of gameplay. So we could actually get an idea of how some of the stuff is going to function and how it's all going to go. Everyone's fears were confirmed that weapon durability is still there.
Mm-hmm.
You will have breaking weapons, but hey, this time you can attach shit to your weapons. Not gonna lie, I mean, I think it kind of makes up for it for a little bit, but you know, their big thing is about like the rewinding of time. Now they showed the mechanics of that. You can traverse, like something fell from the sky. Uh-huh. You can get on the thing and rewind that thing's time to fly back up to the sky there. If they don't have a way to repair your weapons, they can't explain it to me other than we just fuck you. Just fuck you is all.
Right.
The first time around, I get it. You're trying shit, everything like that, you know. But this now that you've introduced a mechanic that specifically puts things back the way they were, come now. You can also build shit. They showed how that works. I think that's the most interesting part of this. That also said, I hope it's not like mandatory a lot of the times, because I don't want to be like building Legos effectively to fly around and shit.
Right.
If I wanted to do that, play Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts.
Right.
And
bless you.
They did show the Ascension now is one of the other abilities to where you can just like mush through ceilings to get to the top of things real fast, eliminating the rain issue from the previous game, which thank God for that. But
I didn't really hate that. I actually liked that part of the realism.
I like the realism.
I just wish they gave
you
something to do while you were waiting for the rain to get over.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like build a fire and then cook there or something, you know?
Yeah, the amount of times where I would be trying to climb somewhere or do something, it would start raining, and I would just look at that little weather ticker down in the bottom, see that it was just like rain for the next 3 icons, and just sit my controller down and go in the kitchen and like get a snack. Like, there's nothing to do. Overall, what they showed was fine. They still, I feel like they intentionally did not go into a lot of depth with everything. And for a game that is as big as this is, that comes out in just over a month, to have us still not know a whole hell of a lot about it, like, is Nintendo turning into everybody else? And they're just like having everything just be this big shroud of secrecy.
I mean, Nintendo is everybody else. I don't.
Yeah.
They're dirty bastards, and they always have been. Cardboard children for fucking $120. I think that $70. $70. This game boycott. #boycott Tears of the Sun. Tears of the whatever. Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Sun.
#boycott it. $70 is outrageous to pay for this, especially when they haven't even listened to you. They don't even care about you. They don't even care what you want. Durability is still in the game. It's not going to make any changes. The rain thing, I guess, has a slight difference, but there's still going to be a ton of other annoying things that you didn't like about the last game that are still in it. So this isn't even going to be an improved version of the game. It's just going to be basically like a giant DLC for $70 that you get to play. Congratulations. Like, this is the most this game is trash. The way they're releasing this is trash. This is trash all across the board. Trash, 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 trash.
I really want to see...
And I'm glad I get a reason to hate Nintendo again. Because this is bullshit.
I really want to see what real huge differences, like huge changes they've made. Because even the map, they straight up said the map is the same with some slight changes here and there.
Right.
I want to see what is just so different about this game for it to be an entire full-fledged sequel.
Yeah.
And no, just having islands floating around in the sky is not enough. You have to actually, have, like, there's more mechanics, more something. Like, what are we doing? Are we doing something with the Divine Beasts else? Like, are you going to have, like, mech battles with the Divine Beasts or something? Cool, that'd be great.
They haven't given us anything here. I mean, everybody thought we were going to finally get to play as Zelda, and that's been confirmed it's not happening. At least not from anything we've seen. Like, to me, this straight up looks like Link's in a toga now, and he has islands that he also deals with. Like, that's a DLC for $70 with a hard drive requirement that's bigger than the game. You then add in the fact that durability is still a fucking thing. And then IGN's article after this was so proves our point about how they go softball and everything. Their first article about this was, don't worry about Zelda durability. You should be worried about their food getting an overhaul. Really? The cooking needs an overhaul, IGN? The durability needs an overhaul. Anybody you talk to, whether they think that's one of the best games ever or they think that's one of the worst games ever, they all share one common issue with that game, and that is the weapons breaking all the time with no way to repair them whatsoever and no way to keep the weapons that you want. So you end up becoming this trash hoarder the entire time. Mm-hmm. That's everybody's problem. Have you talked to anybody who didn't hate that part of the game? Even I hated that. I don't mind them breaking. Give us a way to fix it at least. Like, they didn't do anything with that. There's no reason for the loot. The loot is just throwaway garbage. And, like, everybody had a problem with that. So, and you didn't touch it. You didn't even touch it.
Yeah, my big issue with the durability, of course, if I was able to repair shit, that'd be great. But inevitably, my inventory always became like, oh, this thing's really cool. It's got good stats. I'm going to hold on to it and use this other, garbage weapon. And then inevitably, I'd find something good. But then that would take up another slot and so on and so forth, to the point that my inventory would be full of stuff that I didn't want to get rid of or didn't want to use because I didn't want it to break.
Right.
And then I'd find some other cool shit that I wanted. Well, then I have to throw something away.
Right. It defeats the purpose of looting for fun, and instead replaces it with this looting for desperation. And that's not fun. That's not fun at all. Having a bunch of the same sword because you know that sword is going to break a bunch of times, it's not fun. And every time I got a new weapon, it would be like, well, this is just going to break. So one of two things happens. You use it right away to kill a bunch of bad guys, and then it breaks, and you're sad. Or you never use it because you're always waiting for the big guy that you need to fight, and then you never use it. You never get to use the cool weapon. Even the Master Sword had that weird kind of fucking, like, aspect
cool
to it.
Yeah, sorta, yeah.
Like, why? Like, I honestly don't mind the breaking if you have some way to fix it, because I want to fight with a certain type of weapon all the time, and you literally can't. You have to use every fucking weapon in there, and that's not fun. It takes away any of the build aspects to it. It's not. I would much rather have a loot system with stats where I can get different weapons and use them for different different things. You know what I mean? That's cool loot.
And what's crazy about that too is Skyward Sword had weapon durability, but you could also repair shit. Which also was the first Zelda that had stamina. So like both of those things made it over to Breath of the Wild, but one of them got markedly worse for some reason. I don't understand it.
I don't mind the stamina either. I mean, I know stamina meters are everywhere, but I think in some ways they should be. They're fun.
I didn't hate the stamina thing. It was just the fact that you could break your shit and have no way to repair it. That was the one that I had an issue with.
I liked the more realistic take on fighting in Breath of the Wild. I just didn't like the breaking. I didn't like having to constantly stare at my durability meter waiting for it to shatter. And again, when you are playing a game with dungeon crawls, okay, a role-playing game, in the more traditional sense of the word, what's the most fun? The most fun is exploring something and getting something. That's one of my biggest problems with Zelda Breath of the Wild. As much as I love the game, I do love the game. The exploration in the game does not reward you. It doesn't reward you with anything tangible that you can keep or hold, other than seeing a new island. Even when you found these like optional bosses, which were really cool to fight, the fight's over, you don't get anything for it that you can use for any period of time. Like, everything's temporary in it. So your exploration, there comes a point where you're like, why am I exploring anymore? Like, I have a bunch of claymores, I should just go to the next divine beast. And it defeats itself in a way. It's one of the reasons once you kill Ganon, there's very little reason to play the game. Because there's nothing to see or find. There's no way to make your character better. There's no way to make your stats better. Because the food, the equipment, everything you get, other than the little powers you get from the divine beast, is temporary. When you do that, it's all for desperation. So you have this huge game that has really cool exploration mechanics, and a realization like 15 to 20 hours in that there's no reason to look at any of it other than it's pretty, you know? And that is a problem for me, a real problem. So I might not have been getting this even if I wasn't boycotting it because of its obscene price and storage requirements.
I can't say the same.
I know you can't, and it's ridiculous, but I don't want to bash you on the show. I mean, I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed. We got to draw a line somewhere, man. We got to draw a line somewhere, or they're never going to stop doing the stuff to us. It's that simple.
No, yeah.
And if you don't want to draw a line, that's fine. I'm drawing the line here. I'm drawing the line. Boycott Tears of the Kingdom, 100%. They are putting it in your pooper. Don't let them. And you are about to buy the most expensive storage using DLC of your life.
Yeah.
At least Forbidden Dawn Forbidden West. At least Forbidden West had upgraded shit because it was on a new system. It had better graphics at the very least. This is going to be Breath of the Wild with islands. It's what it's going to be. And that's everything I'm hearing about this makes me very sad about it. Because I thought Breath of the Wild was an innovation on the series. It's one of the reasons I wanted to buy it. And I still think it's an innovation on the series. I think what they did with it was really cool. I was expecting more innovation, but we're not. We're getting a fucking recycled hamster wheel bullshit sequel for more money and more storage capacity. At least until they show me something else, which they have not.
I'd like to hope that it's something like God of War Ragnarok, which had some nice secret changes to the formula that weren't shown in anything.
Right.
So when it happened, it was like, oh, this completely changes everything. So maybe, but I also know Nintendo, and they don't like to change shit, especially once they find out some shit works. So
no,
yeah,
they're a dirty, dirty bastard company. They always have been. They always will be. They're going to continue to be one. All right. Are we done then?
I do believe we are done.
All right, we'll be right back with odds and ends.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that brings us to the end of the show. Shameless self-promotion that comes with it. First and foremost, a little disclaimer. I don't know what the technical issue is that keeps causing Neil to black out. It only does it when I have the internet over the Discord window. I can actually have Discord under any other window on my computer, but if I have the internet above the Discord window, he vanishes, from what I can tell. So I'm going to go back and look at the video to make sure that that's right. But either way, you're going to see weird chunks where Neil is just gone. His picture, I am sorry about that. I did not know it was happening until about halfway through the podcast. I don't really know how to fix it. Don't know how we're going to do fan interaction in the future if I can't fix it. But I'm going to look at it, see if I can't fix it. You're just going to have to deal with it for this. Well, you've dealt with it for this episode if you watched all this way. So I apologize for that. Plugs, you got anything to plug, man?
Well, just we did that retrospective video.
Revisit.
We went back through it's revisit, retrospective. It's all the same.
I mean, the show is called Revisit.
It's called.
You should
Revisit,
know the name
yes.
of the show
It's
that you were on that you're
Revisit.
plugging.
I say we did
You're
the
plugging a show.
retrospective show. It's
like-
all the same thing.
You gotta say the name of the show, man. You can't just say that show we did. We did that one show.
I said the retrospective. Technically, I could have kept talking and said the retrospective show.
Were you going to?
The
Were you
revisit.
Were you going to?
Was I going to? No. That's not the point. That's not the point.
I applaud your honesty.
But yeah, we went back and we commented on an old Halo Infinite War episode that we did, and just talked about that and like the show / channel, how it's progressed, where it was. So you can go ahead and watch that if you so desire, or watch the original version too. The original version. That'd be interesting to see even one additional view on from this coming up.
It would be. It would be. Yeah, we did that. We did that show. That was April's edition of Revisit. May's edition of Revisit will be with my wife. Melissa wanted to do the lowest view video we had just to keep in concert with everybody. So we're gonna be going back to an episode of Prelude that had very low views. So yeah, go check that out. That's out. That's on the channel. I believe I think we're supposed to be streaming sometime soon. I don't remember because we talked about it and I forgot to send a text that day, so I don't even know.
At some point, Wednesday in the future. Yeah, that's all we really hammered down.
I have a couple of things to plug for myself. First of all, obviously, I've been saying this for a while. We've been getting more into the tabletop role-playing game space, the TTRPG space, as it were, with our unofficial partner, Wizard's Respite. Please check those out. We've got a narrative kind of audiobook form journal of a game I did with a friend of mine a while ago, but it's all kind of like a story. They're about 9-10 minute episodes weekly on Mondays. And you can check that out on his channel. Just check out wizardsrespite.com. He's great, and he actually houses all of our videos there too, so you can give both of us a view. I don't know. We're supposed to have a stream this Thursday. Unfortunately, my friend is down with the C word right now, so I don't know if we're going to end up doing that one on Thursday. But if we do, we're supposed to this Thursday do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness. The first game I ever game mastered. I'm going to game master a one-on-one session for him, which is going to be a lot of fun. And then supposedly this Friday will be the second episode of the tabletop role-playing game podcast that we have called Wizards Respite Sanctorum. So check those out. On the other fronts, I'm very excited. This Thursday, OMGM, Old Man General Manager, starts Season 2. We finished Season 1, which was WWE 2K22. We are moving on to the new one. It is a fucking train wreck, but it's a lot of fun to watch. Myself, Grandpa Gamer, we do GM mode against each other, and We added a bunch of crazy ass created wrestlers to this one, not original ones. I found like 32 plus wrestlers that aren't in WWE off the internet that had been made, and downloaded them and put them in our draft. So they're all over the place. So it's a lot of fun. Check it out. I'm very proud of it. And then yeah, that's it. I think we're all done with the show things.
Maybe.
This month we will be having our actual play gaming is coming back to the channel with a new game, Astral Drive. That's what it's going to be called. I'm not 100% on this date, not 100% on it, but I believe if I have timed it correctly, our first session will be the 19th, Wednesday night, 9 o'clock, 19th. It will be myself, Wizards Respite, Philbilly330, and Mr. Mark Bell. We are going to play Astral Drive based on the new system coming from Axiom Games, probably in May. So, a lot of synergy, a lot of cool stuff happening, but I'm very excited about that one. So please, please, please check that out. That's it. A lot of plugs. Sorry, guys. Got a lot of stuff happening on the channel. A lot of stuff to be excited for. Hopefully you guys check it out. Either way, you can contact us on Facebook at OldManGamingDH, on Twitter at OldManGaming9. You can join our Discord. Links in the description below. Influence us and all of our shows from there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as long as you keep watching and listening, we'll keep making them. See you guys next time. Alright. Pause.
Tell you what movie I did watch.
What movie?
After watching John Wick, I was jonesing for some more John Wicky feels.
Oh, okay.
Bullet Train
Is amazing.
Bullet Train.
I've
was
seen
great.
it. It's
Bullet Train was
amazing.
wonderful.
I
was not
so much fun at
expecting
Bullet
it
Train.
to be so much comedy.
God. Oh my god, the Ladybug.
Ladybug.
That movie is awesome. Awesome movie. I
Yeah.
loved it. I was laughing from start to finish. Start to finish.
And then at the very end, it's like, okay, so we're all just gonna team up and fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Even still at the end.
And what was the song they did? But it was in fucking Japanese.
They did a couple of different ones. I'm trying
Oh
to
my
remember.
god! But the
There were
last one, I'm
two or
trying to
three.
remember it. It's like something like "I Will Survive" or something, but it was like in Japanese.
Yeah.
And then they had a sword fight to it, and I was like, "Yeah, this is all my money. I wish I'd seen this in theaters. This is amazing. This is everything I want."
It would have been great to see in the theater.
There's a one problem with that movie, though. One huge problem with that movie that I have with that movie.
What's that?
I overlook because it's really good, but it's a giant plot hole. Just in case this gets used as a bonus, spoiler for the next couple of minutes. So, do you remember the brothers?
Yeah.
Because they're awesome. The like half brothers, but they're not like the adopted brothers or whatever. The black guy and the white
Yeah.
guy. Okay, black guy gets shot up a bunch, right? He's in the bathroom,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Trained killer other brother comes in, sees that he's dead, goes out for vengeance. You find out that the black guy was alive the whole time. It was like something that had spilled on him or something. Your brother, the person you care most about in the world, you find him dead. There's no pressure on you. You're alone with him in a room. You're a trained killer and assassin. You don't check his pulse? If he had checked his pulse, he would have never gone on vengeance. He would have just, okay, cool. And he should have. He should have checked his pulse. You would have checked his pulse. You would have hugged him.
It's true.
You would have hugged him.
Yeah, 'cause
he just goes in there. He cries about it. Then he goes out to kill the guy. And then black guy's alive. I'm like, okay, my dude would have checked if the guy was. He's a trained killer.
Especially given the fact that he drugged himself, so
Yes.
he probably would have been like snoring or something.
Yes. He would have been heavily breathing. Yes.
The one thing that got me, I just did not like. I don't think I didn't like. It was just like too much suspension of disbelief or like
There was
hand
a
waving.
lot at
I
the
guess
end. There was a lot at the end.
the when he gets stuck with the venom from what's her name, the Hornet.
Oh, the Hornet. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he sticks her, and then they're doing that standoff, and then he ends up grabbing and using the antidote. But then it's like theoretically, like an hour or something later, he gets bit by the actual snake, and he's just like, "Oh, well, I still have anti-venom, I guess."
Oh,
like,
yeah, you're right. You're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I did like the line where he was like, your number one way to kill somebody is poison that only you have, and you don't have 2 doses of antidote? Like, why? I love that part.